Ishibon and Guru in the house, back with another Arsenal news episode where, ladies and gentlemen, something really special, something really beautiful, motivating, and a completely unbelievable transfer news episode I have got for you here, because we are going to talk about Dani Ceballos. Bernd Leno asking to, we would want to leave Arsenal, and Matt Ryan is the guy to lead Arsenal forward. There is some proof in this episode to actually make sure those points really stand corrected. Arsenal supporters trust have given their verdict about the Daniel Ek proposition of buying Arsenal, and of course Arsenal looking for a breakaway Bundesliga star. So let's talk about the first one. Is Josep Willock. Well, according to certain sources, Chronicle Live, but it's pretty much clear that they believe that Arsenal would want to not sell. They're quite undecided about Joe Willock, who Newcastle are keen on signing. The midfielder is likely to return for a pre-season at the Emirates, at least for now. So Joe Willock, we know what he's done for Arsenal, for Newcastle since joining on loan, so they would want to keep him. That's the news. And moving on, so Daniel Ek will submit a £1.8 billion offer to buy Arsenal by the end of this week. More on it, keep watching the episode. So also Arsenal hopeful David Luiz can play again this season despite the central defender limping off with a hamstring injury on Sunday. Injury is not said to be serious, and there is a feeling that the 34-year-old can play a role in Arsenal's run-in, according to Sammy Mogbil. Well, yes, let's talk about the one, the only. Well, let us talk about it, because Arsenal are likely going to lose Bernd Leno this summer, as he has informed Arsenal of his intention to leave the club this summer. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. It is actually going to happen, and how crazy as it may sound, well, there is speculation that Bernd Leno has informed Arsenal of his intention to leave the club. The German has been the number one shot stopper for Arsenal since replacing Peter Cech in between the sticks during the 2018-2019 season. Well, how do you say that? Because, former Chelsea winger Pat Nevin has actually described the performance of Matt Ryan against Newcastle as one of the best. He says he had very little to do, Matt Ryan, but everything he has done has been perfect. There were a couple of decent crosses, at the most 3 crosses that were dangerous, and we thought it is going to get to them, and he actually looked solid, absolutely solid. So conversing with Gabriel and actually mastering the art of actually dominating the defense and managing, that's what you do. You communicate with the defenders and make sure all the attacks are just not as dangerous as they generally are for any Arsenal fan to get a heart attack. So moving on, so let's talk about the big wigs. Let's talk about Dani Ceballos. Well, it looks like, according to a source, according to Def Central, Real Madrid want 25 to 30 million euros for Dani Ceballos. Now, with the arrival of David Alaba, Real Madrid have to make sure that there has to be some departures, and everything indicates that in the coming weeks the arrival of David Alaba will be made official. With David Alaba on the squad, Zidane will have a footballer who can perform the functions of central, left-handed and midfielder. Therefore, club-owned players in these positions may begin to gradually leave the entity. That includes Rafa Varane and Dani Ceballos. Well, Madrid can raise 90 million with the transfers of 2 footballers. They are looking at Rafa Varane to be excluded, or rather sold off for 60 million euros, and of course Dani Ceballos somewhere between 25 to 30, which helps Real Madrid generate 85 to 90 million euros in sales. So they would also make sure that Isco leaves, which opens up with a lot of money so that they could reinvest in the squad. Crazy stuff to begin with. So yes, that's the reality. But the question is, why are Arsenal informed about that price tag? We don't even want to buy Ceballos, or are we into buying Ceballos permanently? I hope not. So moving on, so Thierry Henry had a lot to say about the whole Daniel Ek takeover of Arsenal. But first, let's talk about Arsenal Supporters Trust. Well, Arsenal Supporters Trust had this to say on their official website. They said a constructive meeting was held with Daniel Ek, and we were encouraged to hear their commitment to make the role of fans central to their proposals. This is very welcome, and we look forward to further dialogue. We will engage with anyone who has a serious proposal, as it is important any current or future owner is aware of the importance of working with fans. We also continue to seek a constructive and meaningful dialogue with Stan and Josh Kroenke. Change at Arsenal must include the opportunity for supporters to own an equity stake in their club. Fans are the true custodians and should have the opportunity to be part owners. It is also a genuine opportunity to build an international fan-funded model. So Thierry Henry had to open up about the social media boycott. He says, I'm more than happy that people realize what's at stake, not only in football, not only because of racism, because of bullying and harassment, and how you can get abused on there. When I saw the reaction personally of football, that was amazing, and the reaction of everybody, not only football, because it seems like in the past few days, everybody came in to support it. I was really happy about it. I always mention the strength of the pack. Even Thierry Henry was asked whether Arsenal's poor form had motivated his interest in involving himself with the Daniel X bid. He says it's not so much about what happens on the field, because I can tell you myself, being on the other side of the line, being a manager, it is not easy. If I wasn't part of the bid, then I would back it up, also being from afar, because you want the club to be run a bit better and for the fans to be involved. This is what Ek wants to bring, and this is what we want to bring, the identity and the DNA back. And people who care about the club, because if you had fans on the board, the European Super League stance would have never happened. A lot of people have been screaming that they want the owner out. We know what we want to do, but first and foremost, we need to make sure that we take over if they are listening. And also about the Daniel X proposed takeover, Henry said, I know that a lot of people wanted to hear about it. It is true, Daniel is an Arsenal fan. He didn't say that for any publicity. He is an Arsenal fan for a very long time. He approached us. I cannot talk about how much it is, yeah, so that's that. So moving on, so someone, a Singaporean, a teenager is being charged for threatening to kill Brighton's Neil Maupay after he injured Bernd Leno. Well, I don't know who that is. I hope it's not Arix Marlin. I hope you're not that guy. But Singaporean teenager has been charged for threatening to kill Neil Maupay. Yes, the messages were in reaction to the 2-1 Brighton win over Arsenal. So Ali McCoy doesn't blame Maupay for the injury, but the 19-year-old Derek Ng Deran sent messages to the Brighton striker via Instagram. He wrote, "You think you will get away from injuring Leno? No way in hell, bruv. But don't worry, you will be safe. You won't be hurt. It's more fun watching you feel pain when your loved ones go through suffering." Other messages are alleged to be more personal attacks on the lives of Maupay and his family. The news coincides with the social media blackout, which many organizations are taking part in, including Brighton and Arsenal. A lot of things have happened in the past, but this one is actually surpassing a lot of boundaries, which no one supports. I mean, come on. It's football. You got to understand that at one point of time you got to forget about it. No, man. I won't take a fight this much serious in my life. I just wouldn't. Yeah. So moving on with the delight that David Luiz might be back, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like with the delight of a new owner, Arsenal could actually look very strong come against Villarreal, because we still don't know the suspense behind Kieran Tierney's full fitness. Is he available? As what Mikel Arteta had to say, I mean, he didn't say, he actually spoke about David Luiz being fit, so he actually started him against Newcastle. But the fact of the matter is that there is no such openings about Kieran Tierney representing Arsenal this midweek game. A very important game for Arsenal's perspective this season, if they want to save any blushes, or rather want to challenge for any European competition next season. It could be the biggest competition in the lives of any club. That's the Champions League by winning the Europa League, or else there's no way in hell that we could get any European competition. So Arsene Wenger has called for France to end their 6-year exile of Karim Benzema following his alleged role in a plot to blackmail Mathieu Valbuena. Well, the forward will go on trial in October, but Arsenal legend and fellow Frenchman Wenger insists Benzema should be allowed to play at Euro 2020 as his exile is for non-footballing reasons. He says, the non-call-up of Benzema is not dependent on the quality of the player. For me, Benzema deserves 100% to be called up for the European Championship. He could play for any national team. It is because of an extra and non-sport problem that he's not playing. He has been playing for Real Madrid for more than 10 years as a starter, and his record is excellent. Well, talking about some excellent records, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Arsenal are into signing a new breakaway Bundesliga star in Josip Brekalo. Well, Arsenal joined Liverpool, securing a new creative midfielder ranks highly on the ever-growing list of Arsenal, taking the Norwegian back, that is in Martin Odegaard. There is still no final verdict on whether that deal could be concluded, as murmurs from Spain one day claim that Real Madrid are open to sell, and others they say that no, it's not possible. But Bundesliga came up with a tweet that Josip Brekalo, 21 years of age, position winger or second striker, originally dubbed the Croatian Arjen Robben, Brekalo is now forging his own path as a classic number 10. Arsenal join Liverpool in joining their hands. It's not just them, it's AC Milan, Roma and Atletico Madrid are all mentioned as the interested parties in the Croatian Arjen Robben. That is, yeah. So this was way back in 2016 when he was at Dinamo Zagreb, 17 years of age. His numbers this season aren't awe-inspiring with 4 goals and assists apiece in all competitions, but he will be free to leave for somewhere around 17 million pounds is what the price tag would be. I think, no gambling on new stars. For me, no gambling on new stars. So with this, we end this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you seek daily Arsenal content, best place to be, consider subscribing. I will see you in the next one. Until then, cheers.